It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of boxing talk radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
Coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Georgia, New York. I'm Bill Caligione. It's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening. Whenever you're listening, hope you're doing all right today. We have a interesting show scheduled for you today. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria and Italian Restaurant located on beautiful St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com, or give my man a call, 912-268-2328, 912-268-2328, and find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's for an authentic Italian meal. Today's show is also being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where all good books are sold. And you can literally get a copy of this book right now while you're watching or listening to the show by going to barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. You want a signed copy? Don't worry about it. Just come on up to me at a live boxing event, or just go to our website, billycboxing.com, and click on the book. You can't miss it. Some things we're going to be talking about today. First and foremost, we got a couple of decent fights this weekend. That I'll be talking about, breaking down, giving you my picks. But the big news, I guess, depending upon how you look at it, is the kind of sudden announcement of the retirement, allegedly, let me rephrase it, the alleged retirement of Andre Ward, the current world light heavyweight champion. He announced yesterday that he retired. His official statement said, and I quote, "I want to be clear. I'm leaving because my body can no longer put up with the rigors of this sport, and therefore my desire to fight is no longer there. If I can't give my family, my team, and the fans everything that I have, then I should no longer be fighting." I agree with that, and it is manly and justified for a fighter, any athlete for that matter, to recognize that they just can't do it anymore the way they should, especially at that kind of a level. But I'm not buying it, man. I'm not buying it. First of all, Andre Ward makes an announcement that he retires, like Floyd Mayweather did when he retired several times, or Sugar Ray Leonard did when he retired several times, or other big names. Andre Ward was never a big name. That's been the problem for Andre Ward. He just wasn't. Now that doesn't mean he wasn't a quality fighter. I'm not suggesting that, but he wasn't a big name to have the boxing fans say, "Oh my God, we're losing Andre Ward." The guy couldn't draw. He just couldn't. I think the sport is better off without him, to be honest with you. To tell you the truth, he's not even relevant. We don't even mention him. I don't think he's retired for good. I think the underlying reasons are simply, maybe he wants to get out of his deal with Rock Nation. HBO did not renew any kind of fight contract with him. Maybe he's demanding too much for any kind of a fight. And then speaking of fights, what fight's out there for him? I don't want to see him against Kovalev again. What other fights are there for him? I don't know. I think the retirement comes at a good time. for all of us, for him, for us, the fans, and for the sport. Joining me right now from St. Simon's Island is Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, what's your thoughts? Geez, Sal, we got a terrible connection with you. You are all chopped up. I can't really see you. Maybe you might be better off. I tell you what, maybe you'll be better off rebooting your system and coming back on, because I can't even see or hear you. So Sal will get his system back, and we'll get him on here in a couple of minutes. But the truth of the matter is as far as Andre Ward is concerned, I'm okay with it. And I think a lot of boxing fans are okay with it too, to be honest with you. What's your thoughts? Drop me an email, Billy at Talkin' Boxing. That's TALKINBOXING.com. It's not easy being green. Oh, wait, no, that's something else. It's not easy being a professional fighter. And what Andre Ward said in terms of his official statement, I buy it. I buy into what he's saying. So in any event, we're going to try and get to Sal one more time here. He didn't reboot, but we'll see what happens with this time. Sal, are you there?
Yes, I did reboot.
No,
I booted so much I felt like I was going for a field goal.
You didn't reboot.
Listen to me.
You didn't reboot. Listen, forget it. We got a better connection, but I know you didn't reboot because no computer in the world reboots in 1 minute. But anyway, what's your thoughts on Andre Ward retiring?
Let me tell you, I heard that news from one of my pie guys who's into boxing and everything else last night while we were making pizza. He said, "So what do you think about Andre Ward?" I think he's a good quality fighter. He's great, and he made Kovalev quit on him the last time they fought. He said, "No. What do you mean about his retirement? What do you think?" I said, "What do you mean about his retirement?" And sure enough, I was like, "Whoa, hey, whoa!" I couldn't believe it. I could not believe it, and I tried to think about why would he announce that? Is there something else that he's trying to get out of the sport, that maybe announcing a retirement may work as a catalyst to offer that on the table? But when I heard his reasoning was that, hey, guess what? I just can't get up for training. I just can't put my body through it anymore, and emotionally and mentally and everything else, psychologically. I got to give him credit. If that's the legit reason, that's the true reason. I mean, here's a fighter that's arguably in the peak of his career or at the top of his game. ESPN calls him pound for pound best, but I'll tell you what, if these are the true reasons why he no longer wants to participate in the boxing world as a fighter, I think that's great. Unless Showtime, man, I'm an author, I couldn't refuse, as an announcer.
Yeah.
Hello?
Well, yeah, I'm hearing crickets too with that, but first of all, he had a deal with HBO that they didn't renew. And I know that he signed with Rock Nation, and the truth of the matter, the truth of the matter is Andre Ward is a diva. For some reason, this guy thinks he's this huge draw and deserves all the A-side stuff, copying Floyd Mayweather. Be as it may, think of what you want with Floyd, but the truth of the matter with Floyd is Floyd draws. Floyd draws the fans, whether they want to see him win or lose. He draws them, and that's that's what gives him the ability to, call the shots. Andre Ward tries to emulate that, but comes up short. Now Miguel Cotto is a diva too, and but he draws. So the difference here, when you're going to get a fighter that's going to be a diva of sorts. The only reason they can do it, the only bargaining power that they have, is if they can put asses in seats and get pay-per-view buys. It's something that Floyd has been successful doing. It's something that Cotto's been successful doing. It's something that Canelo Alvarez has been successful doing. But Andre Ward, not so much. As a matter of fact, for a guy who's accomplished as much as Andre Ward, Even if you just look at his record, 32-0 with 16 knockouts, I still think his heyday of his career was during the Super 6 tournament when he fought all the best super middleweights out there. I mean, with a guy with the accomplishments that he's had, he should be a household name. People should want to see him. He should have the juice, so to speak, as a Cotto or a Canelo or a Mayweather, but he doesn't. It's almost like he did this retirement to gain attention. Like people are going to start saying, oh, we need him back. Oh, why'd you retire? I don't think he's going to get that, Sal. I think people are going to be like, see you later, Andre. That's my thought.
Well, you made a good point, and he has never really been that household name, even though his record and his ability and a lot of his attributes would tell differently. And I think why he could be declared his self-proclaimed diva or whatever else is because he is an undefeated light heavyweight champion of the world. He's got some unification with some of the titles and the belts. He's got a perfect record. He is a knowledgeable fighter. He's a boxing historian. He knows what he's doing in a game. He knows how to win. And I'll tell you what, right there is a good reason why he is in a position he's in. Diva or no diva. He just doesn't sell tickets. He's not the drawing power. He doesn't have the recognition that a lot of these lesser known or lesser quality fighters have, the kind of marketing or personalities that will keep them in the limelight, whether you like them or not. And I think that has been a problem that has plagued him. But now when you see why he wants to retire, hey, if this guy's heart's not into the game, then I can respect that. And and I would never want to see a fighter just go through emotions, training and going into the ring, trying to represent a killer out there who's going to defend or attain a new title with the heart, soul, and body and mind of a champion, when he really just says, hey, you know what, I'm going through the motion. I got to do what I got to do, and that's it. We don't want to see that. So I give him accolades here for retiring, if this is the true reason. And I don't see any other reason why. I mean, this guy is. I don't think he's looking for attention because he should have been looking for attention while he was active.
No, first of all, I didn't realize he's a historian. Is he a historian, Sal?
No, I mean,
you just threw that in there. You threw that in there when you were treading water.
You know what? It's left thing I was going down for my last breath.
Listen, I agree with you. I think that based on his statement, if he ain't into it, then retire. I do respect him for that. I just don't see it. I think that Andre Ward, like Deontay Wilder, who thinks he's as good as his record would suggest, truly believes it. I think Andre Ward truly believes, even though I refer to him as a diva, I think he truly believes he's a big name, that he is a draw. Maybe he doesn't understand the statistics, the drawing power or lack of that he has or doesn't have.
Those pay-per-view numbers.
The pay-per-view numbers aren't good with him.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
And he can't even sell out. He can't even sell out arenas in his hometown. So I mean, no. I think. First of all, I agree with you 100%. If the reason is what his statement says, he walks away and never comes back, I will respect that. And I, assuming he won't come back. But I am predicting right now, a day after his official announcement of retirement, that he will come back and he will search and try and get a big fight. He needs a dance partner. Who's out there? When you take a look at the light heavyweight division as of right now, who's there for him? I mean, he knows Triple G isn't going to fight him. Triple G's got 1 or 2 fights left. Who else is out there? I mean, he made the BS statement that he wanted to move up to heavyweight. Man, does he look like a fool now after saying that? Yeah. He's saying, "Oh, I want to challenge for a heavyweight title." That's the only thing left for me. Listen, you know what? Andre Ward thinks who he is. And he thinks that people are going to be gathering all around him. Oh, why'd you retire? Oh, this and that, blah, blah, blah. We need you back. It's not going to happen. I don't see a huge influx of people that are going to demand to see Andre Ward. They didn't demand him when he was active. But again, if he's not into it, good riddance. Go try and be a commentator. Generally his commentating isn't bad. but it was better a couple of years ago. But I'm surprised, but I'm kind of glad, to be honest with you, Sal.
Well, I know. I know your stance has always been consistent regarding Andre Ward, and I gotta respect it. I mean, I do respect his ability to fight, his power. I mean, his intelligence. He's a smart fighter. He's a cerebral fighter. He looks at the game, and that's what I meant by a historian. He knows the art of boxing. He knows the game of boxing. He knows the styles of boxing. And I think that is part of his accomplishments and why he has had success. But he's not Mr. Personality, and he's not one to fill the seats up with fans. So, I mean, maybe Clint Eastwood. Here goes another impression. The man's got to know his limitations. I don't know. It's is it crickets again?
You enjoy the impressions?
Can I tell you something? I'm working on new material, right? Just give me time.
You know what you should work on? Just sticking with the program, man. Sticking with what we're trying to talk about. I mean,
you're right.
Listen, Andre Ward is a fighter that I give him credit for his accomplishments. I know we got some comments in the chat room saying that his resume isn't that impressive, but I disagree with that. I do think that his resume is impressive. Specifically the Super 6 tournament where he didn't duck anyone, he couldn't, and he came out on top. He won it all. He's also come, when you got to give the guy credit what credit's due, he's come and he's won all of the fights that he's stepped in the ring to fight.
True.
I think when you look at the last fight, you've said this yourself. Your exact words are, "You're only as good as your last performance," right? And the truth of the matter, and what better performance did he have than his last one when he claims that he was going to knock out Sergey Kovalev? We all mocked him. I know I did at least. I said, "Yeah, I'm going to knock him out." Blah 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 blah. And he goes in and he dominates. Not only does he knock him out, he dominates and makes the big bad tough Russian fighter quit. With
a body shot.
And maybe he sat back and took a look and said, "Hey, what's the risk versus the reward? My risk is putting my body through the training camp. He's had some knee problems, I guess. I don't know if there's other undisclosed issues he's had, but put myself through for what? Who's out there for me? The biggest name that was out there was Kovalev, and he beat him twice. So there's no other names for him, in my opinion, at this stage. And maybe he's being smart to say, hey, at 33 years old, what am I going to do? Wait around for one of these young light heavyweights to come up and be ready to fight me, and then have lost a step or two? Listen. Considering the lack of drawing power, the lack of interest overall in Andre Ward, he gets to walk away at the top of his game as a champion, undefeated, and coming off of arguably one of his best performances of his career. I think if he truly stays retired, Sal, you couldn't ask for a better script.
No, you know what? You just said it right there. I'm like, okay, and then? No, there is no and then. If these are the true reasons, hey, my hat's off to him. Find another life. You're only 33 years old. And, his earnings in the ring have got to be able to sustain him for the rest of his life, no? He probably made over 50 million, 100 million over the course of his career, no? Maybe not.
No.
I don't know.
No. Hold that thought. I went over again here. So let me take a short break, and when we come back, we'll continue that discussion. So don't go nowhere.
Billy C will be right back.
Endless pools are an incredible alternative to traditional pools, making it easy and inexpensive to swim at home. Exercise year-round against a smooth current set to your desired pace and temperature. With our new underwater treadmill, you can walk or run without stressing your joints. Endless pools are simple to install and even simpler to maintain. The water stays crystal clear with almost no chlorine. Call for your free idea kit and experience the freedom of swimming at home.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And before we went to break, we were talking about, giving our estimates of what Andre Ward may have made in his ring career. And Sal, what are you wandering around? We got the camera on you, and you're walking back and forth. What are you looking for your mind? Would you lose your mind this morning? What's going on with you, man?
You said hold that thought. I was like, let it go off. No, I had to get coffee. I had to, I didn't have to reboot. Let me tell you what happened.
No, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It was definitely, and I saw it.
The camera's on me. Everyone's seeing me.
No,
back and forth.
No, I didn't do that.
No,
I was seeing it, but I'm going. Oh, he's not rebooting. Okay, let me click it because I was gonna, yell at you, and then all of a sudden it was clear. I was like, okay, no problem. But Andre Ward, I think, it's a good question of what Andre Ward might have made in his career. Nowhere's near $100 million total. No. I'm thinking if he made maybe 15 or 20 million.
All right, let's say he nets out. Let's say he net 3 million, 4 million. You could still retire. You could still have a comfortable, not a show off life. But I mean, what I'm trying to get at, Billy, is these are his earning years and a power and ability to make more money else in this field of boxing than anywhere else that he'll ever make money. And like I said, when I was with Northwestern Mutual Life and doing some financial advising, what you do for your lifetime and for your retirement, you want income streams. Whether you could get it here, there, that's fine. So if he's situated where he can collect income streams, either from his past earnings or winnings, or collect Social Security at 33. I'm teasing. That's a joke, guys. I don't know.
Well, I think that I do agree that he's made enough money to live comfortably for the rest of his life. And at 33 years old, I applaud him for that. I certainly wish that I was in that position. I wish I was in that position now at twice his age, But the truth of the matter is he doesn't need the sport. He's made enough money, and see you later. I think that he's cemented his legacy, if you want to call it that. Is he a Hall of Famer? Probably. he did beat guys that I do think will be in the Hall of Fame, like Carl Froch. For an example, I think Carl Froch is a Hall of Famer. Fought, tough guys. I mean, during his career, I would think that the two top guys during their, super middleweight run were Carl Froch and Andre Ward. I think those two guys fought the toughest opposition available, specifically Carl Froch. So I think that Andre Ward is a Hall of Famer. So, with that said, him retiring and walking away from the sport at 33 is 100% beneficial to him, his family, and the rest of his life. And I'm okay with it. My point is that, when a guy like, I hate to say it, but when a guy like Floyd Mayweather announced retirement, people just felt that he wasn't done yet. He didn't give the fans enough. People have been, including myself, have been critical of him, cherry picking this and that, et cetera, and it kind of left you with that desire to see him challenge himself and fight again. We did get to see him fight again, but we didn't get to see him challenge himself. Miguel Cotto retired, came back. Same type of thing. Sugar Ray Leonard retired, came back. These are fighters that kind of had some unfinished business, so to speak. I don't think Andre Ward has any unfinished business, and I think that maybe the time is right. And, with fighters that retire at the right time and walk away and never come back, their legacy grows. A great example for me personally is Lennox Lewis. I never thought Lennox Lewis was much. I was never a fan of his at all. When he retired as a champion, never came back. The more time goes by, the more respect I have for him. And I think the same will be said for Andre Ward. Listen, in a nutshell, he retires. It was sudden. It was shocking. But I'm okay with it. And I hope he doesn't come back. And I actually think it's best for him and the sport. I would love to see what happens now with the light heavyweight division, to see some young fighters work their way into a position of holding a title, and we go from there.
I think you're right there, Bill. And I've been trying to search why, where, when, for this sudden announcement. And I don't think he's trying to get a fight with Anthony Joshua. I don't think there's many cruiserweights out there that would be a big draw or name that he can fight, and I'm sure he could do well against some cruiserweights.
Hey, and we're back, Sal. We are back.
Look at that.
We are. It's a miracle. It really is. It's a miracle. We seem to have been. I don't know what's going on, but in any event, we're back.
It was a knockdown. It was a knockdown. We got up by the 10 count. Okay.
I have no idea what just happened with our software, but. We are, I believe, we are almost back. Let's see what I got to do here. Hold on, let me just bear with us, ladies and gentlemen, because we have to just do this real quick and try and get. Sometimes you just gots to do what you got to do. But anyway, it seems like we lost you, at least your screenshot. But it looks like we are up and running. So we apologize for that whole finagle situation that has taken place. So what what we got going on now is our show, which is great. So we apologize for that. I'm not sure what happened there, Sal, but in any event, we will keep moving forward. We just were talking about the Andre Ward fight, and we did get a system crash here, and now we had the podcast all set, but that is not running now. So now let's just keep going on. Some other news I wanted to talk about, Sal, was the fact that Freddie Roach is egging Manny Pacquiao on to take the rematch with Jeff Horn. He says that they're going to fight early next year, but he wants him to fight that fight, and then they make that one be his last. So you know what I'm going to do, Sal? I'm going to take a short little break here, and I'm going to see if I can't get your screenshot to work again. So everybody bear with us for 1 second. Again, we apologize, and we'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host. If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and 3-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're listening and watching the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And with us right now, we're going to give this another shot. Sal, are you with us?
I'm with you.
Yeah.
When I say I'm with you, I mean I'm with you.
And we got We got your video back. All right.
No kidding, huh?
It's a miracle. It's a miracle. I'm not sure what just went on. This was one bizarre chain of events here. We had our broadcast system crash and miraculously came back on its own, and then our podcast and radio system crashed. So we lost that, but at least we got the TV version, and we're happy about that. So anyway, before we went to break, Sal, we were talking about Manny Pacquiao. Freddie Roach in the press is saying that he wants the rematch with Horn. I think that is a smart move for Manny Pacquiao. I believe that Manny Pacquiao should indeed fight one more time, and I think it's critical that he fight with Jeff Horn to get his to get his title back, and then he too walk away. That's my opinion on that. What do you think?
Well, it's like I said, every time Manny Pacquiao came back, I said the only fight he should fight and hold out for is Floyd Mayweather. And look what happened. He took one too many fights, and that was a long-time dream gone bad. So that will never happen. And nobody will pay for it to see it now, especially after Manny's last performance. Now, henceforth, go forward, Jeff Horn beat Manny Pacquiao, and I said the only fight left for Manny Pacquiao is Jeff Horn in a rematch. And guess what? I'll predict right here and now, without anything else being shown, said, or whatever, Jeff Horn is going to beat Manny Pacquiao again.
Yeah, I don't know if I can agree with that.
I know you didn't, and I agree, and I respect it. But Jeff Horn was a bigger, sharper, harder puncher, and Manny Pacquiao has jumped one too many weight classes above his natural weight, and I think that's going to be proven and be evident. That's all.
But he fought in that weight class for years, and even above. I just think it was a clear case of Team Pacquiao taking the fight lightly. That's what I think.
Good. You may be 100% correct there, but I just think that is, to answer your question, the only fight left for Manny Pacquiao that he should try to avenge that loss. And if he does win, go out in the sunset. If he loses, go out in the sunset. Enjoy life, enjoy politics, and remain in boxing on any level you can from the outside, but not the inside of the ring.
We got some big fights this weekend. One that will not be on U.S. television, Junior Dorticos against Dmitry Kutuzov. That is the WBSS World Boxing Super Series. Will be taking place in Texas. It's a great fight. Because most of our audience is, well, it's not true. I mean, we have a large following in Europe, but the Dorticos fight and Kutuzov, hopefully you can get it on a stream. It is a World Boxing Series, so WorldBoxingSuperSeries.com will have it. I like Dorticos in this fight. I think this guy's a real deal, and I'm just excited about this whole series, and I'm looking forward to that fight. Now, with that said, I have a little more in depth breakdowns of some of the other fights that are scheduled for this weekend. And the first one that we will talk about is the Oscar Valdez against Genesis Cervania fight. Cervania is 26 years old. He's ranked number 39 in the world by the computer in the featherweight division. He's 29-0 with 12 knockouts. He's 5'6.5", which is a 1-inch height advantage over Valdez. He's fought a lot of tough guys, if you look at the record, all in the Philippines. I'm a little surprised that he's ranked so low at number 39. And, he seems to be an active fighter. I honestly have only seen very limited footage of him, but the footage that I have seen, he seems active. He's not a power puncher, only 12 knockouts in one fight shy of 30 professional fights. But he is young, and he has fought a lot of tough opposition. And the Filipino fighters are generally tough. So I'm giving him credit as being a legit opponent for Valdez. Valdez, in his own right, is a very exciting fighter. He's ranked by the computer at number 6 in the featherweight division. He's 22-0 with 19 knockouts. He's more of a knockout puncher, 5'5.5". He too is 26 years old. His last 4 fights have all been against really good, above average opposition. Obviously, he's 4-0, and of those 4 wins, he's won 3 of them by knockout. I think Valdez has come into his own. I believe that this is going to be a tougher fight than people think, but at the end of the night, I'm picking Valdez in this fight. I don't know if he's going to get a knockout or not, but I'm picking him in this one. What's your thoughts? On that same card, which is on ESPN tonight, Zurdo Ramirez against Jesse Hart for Ramirez's WBO super middleweight title. And by the way, the Valdez Savannah title is the WBO featherweight title is on the line for that one. When you look at Ramirez, he's ranked number 1 by the computer. Like I mentioned, he's the super middleweight champ for the WBO. He's a southpaw, 6'2.5", 26 years old, undefeated at 35-0 with 24 knockouts. Last 3 opponents, all good ones, and he won all 3 by decision, including winning the title against Arthur Abraham, and then making a successful defense against Max Bursack. He steps in the ring with Jesse Hart. Jesse Hart's ranked number 12 in the world by the computer. He's a couple of years older at 28. He's 6'3", so he's got a little bit of height and reach, height advantage. He's 22-0 with 18 knockouts. But the big difference with him, similar to Ramirez up until his last 3 fights, are really easy, hand-picked opponents. And when I look at Jesse Hart, I notice one thing that sticks out. He's got the skinny little toothpick legs. I don't think he's going to withstand the punching power of Ramirez. And you can make an argument that Ramirez has, was coddled and been in there light for 31 of his professional fights, maybe even 32. But at the end of the day, I'm going by the fighter that I see today. I'm going by the fighter that fought in his last 3 fights. And I think that Ramirez is going to win this fight. I think he's going to win it big, Sal. I think he's going to win by knockout in an exciting fight. I think Jesse Hart knows that he's got to give it his all, and he's going to try. And I think he's going to be a good dance partner for Ramirez. I think it will be exciting, but I'm picking Ramirez by knockout, and I think it's going to happen fairly early in the fight. Well, when I say early, at least 8th or 9th round. I don't think it's going to double-digit rounds in this one. What's your thoughts?
I think you're right. I think Ramirez is going to be strong. I think he's going to be tough. I think he's going to have Hart to beat Hart. And I think that Jesse Hart will put up a good little fight for about 3-4 rounds, 5 rounds. And I think I predict this fight to end by knockout for Ramirez's favor before the 8th round.
The next fight I want to talk about is the one on HBO Saturday night, Jorge Linares against Luke Campbell. A little disappointed in HBO. No disrespect to Luke Campbell or Jorge Linares, but this is not the type of matchup, especially where Linares is in his career. Now, Luke Campbell could be the guy that really benefits from this fight in terms of becoming more known and popular here in the States. But when you take a look at the WBA lightweight champion, Jorge Linares, the computer sees him at number 2 in that division. He's 32 years old. Out of all the fighters that are fighting this weekend, he's the oldest by far at 32. He's 42-3. 27 of his 42 wins came by knockout. But here's the kicker. All 3 of his losses, he was knocked out. He was written off and then came back. The best fight, or at least the fight that in my opinion defined Linares, and not in a good way, was his fight against Antonio DeMarco. In that fight, and I look at that fight as a classic fight. And the reason why I look at it as a classic fight isn't because it was nonstop action from start to finish. The reason why I look at it as a classic fight is because of Antonio DeMarco. What happened in this fight was Jorge Linares was put on a boxing clinic, was dominating DeMarco from ring post to ring post. And this was the famous fight where DeMarco comes back to his corner between rounds, and they said, "Hey, kid, you got to win by knockout. You're not going to win this fight unless you win by knockout." And DeMarco says, "Okay," and goes out in the 11th round and knocks him out. And it was amazing. And I'll forever remember Antonio DeMarco doing this. And I don't think Linares was ever the same fighter after that. Like I said, he's successful, 42-3, 32 years old, 5'8". He steps in with Luke Campbell. Luke Campbell's a young gun at 29, 5'9", so he's got a 1-inch height advantage. The computer sees him at number 6. He's a southpaw. He's 17-1 with 14 knockouts. The big fights that I look at on Luke Campbell's record is the 3 wins he had against Darles Perez, Argenis Mendez, and Derry Matthews. Now, Derry Matthews may not look like an impressive win because he's got double-digit losses, but Derry Matthews was a tough, slick, older type fighter. But the 2 wins against Mendez and Perez were substantial. I'm picking an upset in this one, Sal. I think Luke Campbell's going to win this fight, and I think that he's going to have an opportunity to introduce himself to the American boxing fans and HBO. And I think should he win, like I'm predicting, I think we're going to see more of Luke Campbell. What's your thoughts on this fight?
I circled Luke Campbell about 3 minutes ago for a lot of the reasons why you feel he's going to have an upset. I just think he's the younger gun that's going to come out there. I think his southpaw style may offer Linares a little bit of an obstacle, and I think that he's got decent pop in his punch, and we'll see a good fight. And I think Luke Campbell should win this fight, and it will be his chance to be on the world stage and to be propelled up into some really good future fights to give the fans. So we'll see.
And the last fight that I'm going to talk about is available on internet stream. YouTube's going to do a pay-per-view stream. I leave it last because it's a heavyweight fight, and we all love the heavyweight fights. And in this particular fight, we have the WBO World Heavyweight Champion in Joseph Parker taking on what the WBO classifies as the number 1 ranked contender. Let me start off by saying I honestly don't believe either one of these fighters are world champion caliber, and that does not imply I have any disrespect for either fighter, especially the champion, Joseph Parker. But I just, their resumes don't justify it. I even give, even though I've been very critical of Deontay Wilder, I even give him more credit than Joseph Parker. But with that said, Joseph Parker is the WBO world champion. The computer sees him at number 6 in the world as a heavyweight. He's 25 years old, 6'4", which by today's standards isn't a giant heavyweight. It's similar to Chris Arreola was 6'4". His last 3, he's 23-0 with 18 knockouts. His last 3 fights were all against good opposition. Of course, he's 3-0, but 2 of those fights were by decision. One being, I think, the toughest fight of his career against Andy Ruiz Jr., in which he won a majority decision. A lot of people felt that he lost that fight. And Andy Ruiz, I don't believe, has fought since. Parker is a guy that has a lot to gain by putting on a good performance. I don't think he can squeak by Huey Fury. I think he's got to really beat Huey Fury badly to get in the discussion. Because right now, I mean, there's no question in my mind that Anthony Joshua is the best heavyweight on the planet. And then the only guy that always comes up in discussion as a possible opponent for Joshua is Deontay Wilder. And both Anthony Joshua has a fight scheduled against Kubrat Pulev, and Deontay Wilder has a tough fight, his toughest of his career, against Luis Ortiz. So conceivably the 2 winners of those fights would fight each other. And I think Joseph Parker needs a huge win to be in the conversation. when he steps in the ring against Huey Fury, what he's against is a guy that's 2 inches bigger than him at 6'6". But he's also 2 years younger at 23 years old. Fury's 20-0 with 10 knockouts. His last fight was over a year ago, April of 2016. Now, he did have an exhibition fight, but I'm not counting that. Here's the thing about Huey Fury. He's got no major wins under his belt. None. I don't understand why he's even ranked number one by the WBO. Yes, he's won, and of his 20 wins, he's got 10 knockouts, so he's not even an overpowering fighter. Listen, if Fury wins the fight against Parker, I believe it's going to be a huge upset. I mean, everybody in the Fury team and camp and family and whatever else you want to call them, they all believe in Huey Fury. I don't. I think Joseph Parker is going to win this fight. There's either winner of this fight is going to have some doors open up, but I think Joseph Parker needs to win this fight, and I think he needs to win this fight in a dominating fashion, and that's what I'm picking. I'm picking Joseph Parker to beat Huey Fury in a dominating fashion. Sal Rocky Senicola, what's your thoughts?
I think we're both going 3-0 here, Pat. I'm picking Joseph Parker as well to win, and I don't know how pretty, I don't know how dominant it's going to be, but I do believe he will come out with his hand raised in the air, beating Huey Fury. And I see that fight going a couple good rounds, and I think that Joe Parker will beat him. He knows what's on the line. He's been there. I think he's fought some better opposition than Huey Fury, and I do think he's going to do it as best he can. A win's going to be a win.
A win's a win.
A win's a win unless you lose.
That's correct. Yeah, no, you're right. A win is a win unless you lose. But, anyway, some other things I want to talk about. We are going to get Dax Khan on here in a few minutes, but Showtime seemingly has passed HBO. Definitely with the amount of boxing events they put on, and I gotta say, and I've always been a big fan of HBO. Let me say this: I can't stand any of the commentating on either network. The only guy I can stand is Al Bernstein, who's a classic. I mean, Al Bernstein is probably the best, but Mario Ranallo, the worst commentator in the history of boxing. Jim Lampley has lost his ability to qualify. So I believe that both networks need to, reboot. But with that said, Showtime clearly has had the better fights this year overall. And they only have two more fights. Their last, at least as of today, their last scheduled live boxing event is November 4th when they close out their season with the Deontay Wilder Luis Ortiz fight. Now, don't forget the fight before that, the week before, October 28th. We're going to see Anthony Joshua and Kubrat Pulev live on Showtime. So they're ending their season, so to speak, with two fights that are highly anticipated. And I say highly anticipated clearly for Deontay Wilder and Luis Ortiz. But so is the fight between Pulev and Anthony Joshua. And I think that the reason why that isn't so much that the masses believe that Kubrat Pulev is going to give Anthony Joshua a big test or a big fight. But I think that the interest in Anthony Joshua is so big right now that we just want to see him. And, I think there's actually a lot of pressure on Anthony Joshua to not have a letdown fight. Specifically after he beat the guy who was reigning and controlling the heavyweight division for nearly a decade. And all sights are on Anthony Joshua possibly having a showdown with Deontay Wilder. So this is one of those types of fights. And Pulev is no pushover. I mean, he possesses punching power and he can box, and he's a big guy. So it's not a pushover fight for him. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can, stay focused and take care of business at hand so that he moves on to fight the winner of Wilder against Ortiz. What's your thoughts on that, Sal? I mean, that's a lot of pressure on the young guy. Do you think he's going to come through okay?
Yeah, I think he will. I mean, that's what fighters do. They rise to the occasion. They've got to be able to. When push comes to shove or you're given the opportunity, if you've got that championship heart and character and mindset, you're going to do what you got to do. And believe me, I know what it's like. The first time you're going to go through something and get that feeling, you got to rise and you got to know you're better. You got to know you belong, and you got to know you're going to win. So it's a good opportunity. I think you got to grab it and you got to take it for all it's worth.
Another fight that was announced, and it's not a glory fight, or I should say, it's not one of these fights that are sparkling and you have the big names. But let me tell you something. This is going to be a fight to remember. All right, it's going to be on ESPN, and it's going to take place October 19th. Gabe Rosado. Oh, this is one of these fighters that. I mean, I love Gabe Rosado. He's not a polished fighter by any means. He's not going to be a guy that you want to show a young fighter, hey, watch this kid, because he's got it all. No, he doesn't. But the one thing that he does have is he's got balls. This is a guy that will fight anybody, anywhere, anytime, and has said it and has proved it. Gabe Rosado, who's got a record of 23-11 with 13 knockouts, is scheduled to face Glenn Tapia. Glenn Tapia, the Jersey boy, another tough fighter. Both of these guys come at each other, or both of these guys have a tendency to go at their opponent. Tapia is 23-4, has been in some battles that are memorable. This is a main event that's taken place in Vegas on ESPN October 19th. And it's a fight that I'm looking forward to. And the co-main event is pretty good, too, when you see Alejandro Barrera, 27-3, going up against Keandre Gibson, who's only once beaten at 17-1-1 in the welterweight division. So the winner of that fight, some doors should open there. But Glenn Tapia against Gabe Rosado, can't wait for that in a couple of weeks, a month or so, October 19th. So some great fights on the horizon, Sal, for
Absolutely.
us. And one other thing I want to mention before we go to break and grab Dax is Chimpa Gonzalez, 17-1 in the lightweight division, is coming back October 6th against the ever tough TBA. So, and you know how bad TBA is a badass, Sal. You know that.
Oh yeah.
I mean TBA.
TBA, I'm telling you.
TBA,
I think they're undefeated. TBA.
Yeah, TBA goes all out when he fights, man. So. We'll see what happens there. But listen, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're scheduled to have Dax Khan join us. So don't go nowheres because we'll be right back. I say we will be right back. What the heck is going on here, brother? We got some other issues, I guess. With some things, so we'll be back. Take my word for it.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks, like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Listen to this important message. If you owe money to the IRS, you will want to hear this. Penalties and interest compound daily on your back taxes, putting you under a mountain of debt. Tax 10,000 has years of experience connecting people with tax resolution specialists. Working through the IRS Fresh Start program, they will handle all the necessary forms, and if you qualify, you may end up saving thousands of dollars. Call Tax 10,000 at 800-773-4604.
If you're over the age of 50 and considering buying an annuity in the next 60 days, I have some important news for you. Don't buy an annuity until you understand the pros and cons of annuities. A free book to help you maximize your retirement income from television host and three-time author Josh Melberg has been released. This book reveals little-known truths about annuity strategies in simple-to-understand terms. Grab a pen right now because we are about to offer you this free book that unlocks the 5 little-known secrets we believe baby boomers and seniors should know before buying an annuity. Call 800-493-9652 now, and you'll receive a free copy of Josh Melberg's book, Next Gen Annuity Strategies Revealed. As a bonus, we'll also send you the #1 mistakes retirees are making with their investments today, and a free DVD on how you can get up to 33% more income in retirement. Call 800-493-9652 to have your free information kit rushed to your door. Again, that's 800-493-9652.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
And we're back. You're listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could join us. And, we just lost another system. Today we're having all kinds of technical issues, but fear not, because we're back, and you don't have to deal with anything else, just our sound. So joining us right now is Dax Khan. And even Dax is having some problems because his video's not up. But anyway, Dax, we got your audio, right? You there?
Yeah, I'm here.
All right. We got Dax's audio. Hey, Dax, what's your thoughts, first and foremost, on Andre Ward's retirement?
Well, yeah, you know what? Good for him. If he's going to retire. Yeah, I'm here. I could say.
Yeah, you're all breaking up, Dax. We don't see your video, but it's okay if you can hear us. Just talk. What's your thoughts on Andre Ward?
It's going in and out. I'm seeing 1 minute I'm seeing the screen, next minute I'm not seeing the screen, and I heard Sal's whole conversation.
Right. So, you're okay with Ward's retirement?
Hey, it's good for him. You know what? If you feel this is the time to retire, it's the time to retire. He's made some money. I know that he had problems with the HBO contract, and I realized that he might have understood he's not a big pay-per-view draw, so why tax yourself and put yourself through this anymore? And, you have a wife, you have some children. He's 33 years old. Time is now, so take advantage of it. We like to see fighters leave when they're still on top before they've stayed around too long. So, you know what? Good for Andre Ward.
I personally don't think he's going to be gone. I think that he'll come back, but I hope he stays gone. And we were talking about that earlier. Dax, I want to get your thoughts on the fights this weekend. First and foremost, the World Boxing Super Series, Junior Dorticos against Dmitry Kutuzov. What's your thoughts on that fight?
Well, there's going to be a knockout there, definitely. When you look at both guys, they're hard punchers. They're 42-1 with 40, I think 41 knockouts. Dorticos, there's even though he's the champion, his biggest wins are against the guy Valencia Zuniga and Edison Miranda. He knocked out Zuniga, went distance with Miranda. Kutuzov, he's fought the better competition. Juan Carlos Gomez, Salgado. His fights with Duradola were his own loss. He won one by knockout, the other one by knockout. So, it's going to be a good fight, and I actually have to go with the Russian fighter in this one because he's fought the better competition.
So you're going against Sal and myself. What about the televised ones we're going to see here in the States? We got, first and foremost, Oscar Valdez against Genesis Cervania. What's your thoughts on that one?
Well, Oscar Valdez, again, he's fought the better competition. Miguel Mariaja, Yevgeny Gradovich, Hiroshi Osawa, Cervania. His best win is over Rafael Concepcion. Other than that, he's fought guys like Alexander Munoz, and then he actually took steps down and fought guys that were low-level journeymen, even over in the Philippines, like Ralph Jean Lulu, Hendrik Baronsky. So, I think that Valdez should win this one. Cervania, like you alluded to earlier in the show, he's one of those Filipino fighters that is tough. He's going to put on a good show, but I think he's going to be outclassed in this one.
Also on that card, Ramirez against Jesse Hart. You and I spoke a little about that one last night. What's your thoughts on that fight?
The last big win that he had outside before he won the title against Kitchikin was against Valencia Zuniga, the same guy that Junior Dorticos has a TKO win over. Zuniga seems to fight everywhere and anywhere, but other than that, he seems complacent with just getting his decisions. He won the title against a very faded Arthur Abraham. He made that defense against Max Bursak, but he really just hasn't showed me much sense. I really thought that, this kid was going to be something special, and now it seems he's reached a certain level and he's happy with it. As for Hart, this is another guy here that, he seemed to take steps down in competition himself. He did have a holder win over Samuel Clarkson, the former WBA interim light heavyweight title holder, back in 2014, and he also win over Aaron Pryor. But then, he kind of took a step down and fought regional guys like Andrew Salagi and Andrew Hernandez. So, this is going to be one of those fights where the longer it goes, the more it's going to favor Ramirez, who I think should win a decision. But, Hart, he comes out strong. He hits hard. Anything can happen. Ramirez hasn't really been in a firefight in a long time. It's a 50-50 fight, in my opinion.
Jorge Linares against Luke Campbell.
Right away, my mind wants to say, Jorge Linares. Jorge Linares, despite the recognition he gets, is probably one of the best boxers, period, in the sport that we've seen in the last decade. One problem that Jorge Linares has is that when he dominates his opponent so thoroughly, he starts getting a little bit distracted or uninterested in the fight, however you want to say it. Happened in the Anthony Corolla fight. You see him when all of a sudden, he's on top. All of a sudden, Linares starts letting his foot off the gas. That's how we lost Antonio DeMarco twice. He was dominating Antonio DeMarco, and then what happens is, as he's so far ahead on the scorecards, he starts showboating, he starts letting his foot off the gas, he starts going on the ropes, and he got knocked out twice. As for Luke Campbell, the kid hits hard. His last win was in 2014, 2015 to Yvonne Mendy. That was a split decision. But Campbell, again, because he hits hard, if DeMarco should happen to get one of these lax moments, Campbell has, the power to knock Linares out with one punch. But I think Linares should outbox him so long as Linares doesn't get distracted. It's going to be an exciting fight for sure. The most exciting fight on that card, in my opinion, is the Antonio Roscoe versus the Roberto Ortiz fight.
They're not showing that one, though, are they?
I believe they are. That's the co-feature.
Oh, I thought HBO was only showing one.
Really? But we did have the... Before we go, the Kovalev presser yesterday.
Yeah, but wait, no. Before you mention that, I wanted to get your thoughts on Joseph Parker, Huey Fury.
That's gonna, Joseph Parker has not looked that impressive lately. He didn't look that impressive against Andy Ruiz Jr. I actually thought Andy Ruiz Jr. did enough to win that fight if the location was different. As you stated before, Huey Fury, he's a good fighter. He's fast. He throws a lot of punches, but he's not really a fighter that, stands out and you want to sit there and you see anything special about him. What I do like about Huey Fury, though, even though he's so tall, he does dig the body well. And because he throws a lot of punches, I think that might be detrimental to Joseph Parker, who seems to only fight in spurts. We don't know exactly how good Huey Fury's chin is, so that's going to be the big question here. Joseph Parker might need a knockout due to location. As I've stated before, a huge fight for the heavyweight division, especially the promoters over in the UK, would be Huey Fury against Anthony Joshua. And so, you know what? We know how the scoring goes, and we know how foul play is. So, that is something that they're going to do their best to try and make happen.
And finally, Dax, what's your report on the Kovalev presser? Sal and I talked yesterday about Sergey Kovalev, and I got to be honest, I've lost a lot of respect for Kovalev. And I think it's almost like he's got to climb the ranks again, even though he's, obviously at the top of the division. But I think he's got a lot to prove. What did he have to say in the presser?
Kovalev, we know how Kovalev used to be in the past, with that jack-o'-lantern grin has been dubbed, and that little bit of arrogance and confidence. He didn't seem to have that yesterday. He was talking about, I'm going to train harder than I was, and I'm going to be better than I was before. I want to prove to everyone and myself I'll be champion again. He didn't say it with conviction when they asked about the thoughts on Andre Ward's retirement. Then all of a sudden, the old Kovalev bursted out for a second. Well, it's good for boxing because he's not a real champion. He doesn't fight the best. I don't think about him at all. He doesn't bother my mind. He scares me. I wanted that third rematch. Kathy Diva, she comes out again. She's trying to sell Kovalev in a way like you're stating where they have to build him back up. She's saying a lot of people didn't want to fight Sergey Kovalev. All the promoters we called, nobody would even answer us. Nobody would even ask us how much we were offering opponents. We just never got an answer. Golden Boy Promotions is the only company that would answer, and they got us back to us in an hour. That's how the Shabransky fight came along. Igis Klimas, when he went up on there, again, he was trying to sell Kovalev. I think Sergey is going to be clear-headed. I think his head's going to be in the right place this time. I think he's going to be ready for this fight, unlike he was for the Andre Ward fight. So, what's going on there? Why are they selling this guy so much, considering he has 2 losses against the guy who many consider the pound-for-pound best fighter in the sport? No shame to that. But, you feel this need to try and really sell him as if he's a prospect rather than the former unified champion. Maybe they know something we don't, but Sergey's body language and the way he spoke and the way Kathy spoke and the way Klimas spoke, I really don't think anybody out of the 3 of them is that confident in Sergey. Shabransky isn't really a great fighter. He's a strong fighter. He throws a lot of punches. The 2 of them combined have fought 20 times since 2014. I think Kovalev should win this, but something, I think if he should get into a little bit of trouble, I wouldn't be surprised if we seen Kovalev kind of pull back onto those ropes like we did with Andre Ward.
Interesting. I don't know, Sal. I think it's going to take a lot for me to have some faith in Kovalev again. What do you think?
Bill, 100%. You know what? When I saw him quit against Andre Ward from the multiple body shots, whatever it was, he had a rough night, and he made that fight end prematurely or earlier than we all anticipated it to be. I'm going to say this. They're trying to repackage him, rebrand him, redo whatever they got to do that he's the new and improved Kovalev, whatever. I mean, the guy's at the apex of his career right now. You're not going to teach too much of an old dog new tricks. But once a fighter's mind, mentally, he broke that seal. In other words, if he was pressed and he found in his heart of hearts a way out to not go into the later rounds or another round with Andre Ward, all that has to be done is him put in that position again. And the fight or flight syndrome in his mind, that mechanism is going to say, what am I doing? All right, I'll quit. It happened once before. It could happen again. Once you break that seal, believe me, it's broken forever, and you will always have that way out if you choose to do that. Now, you should have that working for you as fuel for your fire of why you're not going to do that. You assess and say, hey, I don't know why I quit. I don't know what happened. No mas, But the bottom line is this: he was hurt, and he wanted to get a way out of that fight, and he did. And if he's hurt again or pushed up where he doesn't feel he's going to win, who knows if he's going to do that again or not. I'd say he's got a lot to prove. My feelings about Kovalev, his best days are well behind him right now.
Hey, Dax, in the light heavyweight division, assuming that Andre Ward stays away, and we're talking about Kovalev right now, who else is there? Who else is going to step up and I know Joe Smith Jr. is a name that some people are going to toss around. But are there some young light heavyweights, in your opinion, that we're going to get to watch, climb a ladder and at some point next year or whatever, be the new light heavyweight?
There's really not a lot of young light heavyweights out there. All of them are either in their late 20s or early 30s. Right now, the guy who is obviously fighting to get, not in the ring, but, to get his shot that he's supposed to have, he should have had a long time ago, was Artur Beterbiev. He's been the IBF mandatory for quite some time. The two most skilled fighters in that division, in my opinion, now with the exit of Andre Ward, is Badu Jack and Sullivan Barrera. But Sullivan Barrera is 36 years old. Badu Jack is 33 years old. Adonis Stevenson, he's 40 years old. So that division really doesn't have anybody that's young, except Dmitry Bivol. That's, I believe he's the youngest guy in the top 10 or top 15 that's in that division. And Bivol, he's a very good fighter. He's unproven, but, he's a very good fighter. And Alexander Vodzik, Vodzik is another guy who's just a crushing machine like Kovalev was. So we really don't know how Vodzik does, even though he did have that one knockdown suffered against Tommy Karpinski, and he got back up and just totally destroyed Karpinski. It's an interesting division right now, but, yeah, you're right. There really is not a lot of talent, young talent in that division anyway. It's more of a stopover division, it seems to me. Andre Ward, you mentioned Andre Ward, and you mentioned how Kovalev, how Andre broke him down. He did the same thing to Chad Dawson when Chad Dawson was a pound-for-pound fighter, and that's what made Andre Ward so good, because he was able to fight in layers. How I was mentioning about Triple G. He could box, or, he can go in there and he could bully guys. Kovalev was, a bully. He's so used to having it his own way. And Chad Dawson was a guy who was never used to that rough style. And so that's why Chad Dawson was able to be bullied in there by Andre Ward. I think the toughest fight of Andre Ward's career, in my opinion, was another guy who fights so rough like that. And even though he lost, he gave Andre Ward a night that Andre Ward didn't forget for quite a while. And that was Pacquiao Bika, before Pacquiao really faded, because that was Pacquiao's, that's Pacquiao's game and always has been. So the way Andre Ward has fought his career in some of these tough fights, and lately, it's the right time for him to retire, especially if you don't have the desire. That's the one thing that sticks out in my head. He says, I don't have the desire anymore. And no matter how good you are, if you just don't have the desire and you don't have the heart to step in there, don't do it, because you're setting yourself up for a loss, even against an opponent that's subpar.
Or the desire can change if they put enough zeros on the end of the contract, But hey, Dax,
this is true.
I appreciate you coming on, and apologize for a weird day for everybody. Not that I'm glad that you're having trouble too, but it's across the world. I think I don't know.
Freaky Friday.
It is. It's freaky stuff.
Yeah, there you go. Freaky Friday.
Freaky Friday.
I'll tell you what though. The expression on Sal's face when the system crashed the first time, that expression, he had this expression on his face like he was almost shocked it just happened. I took a screenshot of it. It was priceless.
I want to see it.
Sal knew it was coming.
Good.
Don't post it till I look at it, but text it to me.
No, post it now.
You got to look on your face. Your eyes are open. Your mouth is dropped. You're like,
that's funny. Hey, Dax, enjoy the fights.
Push a
man.
button.
Hey, Dax,
I'm clean. My hands are on the table.
Enjoy the fights this weekend, Dax. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, guys. Have a good day.
Dax Khan giving us his thoughts about a bunch of stuff. But I tell you what sticks in my mind right now, Sal, is the fact that we're not even talking about Adonis Stevenson. We're talking about the light heavyweight division. And Andre Ward retiring, and Kovalev, and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, Dax mentions Adonis Stevenson. I'm like, oh, yeah, that's right. He's still fighting. He still has a title. And I find that pretty comical that a guy that at one point was regarded as the best light heavyweight on the planet is not even in discussions anymore, at least on this show. And, there's a guy that Andre Ward could have closed his career against. Maybe the numbers that were offered weren't enough, but that's the only guy. I mean, Andre Ward is missing that one belt, and I would predict right now that Stevenson's going to come out probably today, if he hasn't already, and say that Andre Ward retired to avoid fighting him. That's Stevenson's MO, because to me, Stevenson's a fraud.
Well, and maybe that's one way they can sell some tickets. Who knows? Maybe this was just a knee-jerk thing. I don't know. But the bottom line is, hey, if Stevenson comes out and says that, and Andre Ward is going to say, hey, you know what? You want me to come back for one more? I'm coming back for one more, and I'm going to show you. And I'm going to take your belt, too, and I'll get out of the game. Who knows? It's just so funny. And I'm thinking about Andre Ward. Why, where, and when. What the whole variables here that made him maybe announce his retirement. And when you look back again in my era, when you were 33 years of age fighting, you were done. I mean, you were considered an old man, and you're hung around to be fodder for the young bucks. But it's a difference in contrast in what 30 years will do in a fight game. Because these fighters today, they're maturing and they're solid and they're experienced and they're still weathering the heat. And they're reaching their peaks later in life in their 30s or mid 30s. So, my hat's off to them because we do appreciate the aging fighter and the whole cycle. And as I said, Andre Ward 30 years ago would have been considered an old man. Today, he's at the peak of his career.
Interesting, and you're right about that. Again, we apologize for a lot of the technical issues we had, even just now with Sal talking. The camera shots are a little choppy, and I'm quite puzzled of why all of our gauges seem to be showing everything's great. So who knows? Freaky Friday. On this day, September 22nd, in boxing history, in 1990, Tony the Tiger Lopez wins a 12-round decision over Jorge Paez, the Pops, not Jorge Paez Jr., Jorge Paez, to retain his IBF World Super Featherweight title. It took place at the Arco Arena in Sacramento, California. It was a great fight. If you never saw this one, punch it up because it is available. Also on this day, September 22nd, in 1938, Peter Kane wins a 15-round decision over Jackie Jurek to win the vacant flyweight title. It took place in Liverpool. On this day, in 2001, Fernando Vargas knocks out Shibata Flores in the 7th round to win the vacant WBA World Junior Middleweight title, and that took place in Las Vegas. And on this day, September 22nd, in 1927, an extremely historical fight, Gene Tunney wins a 10-round decision over Jack Dempsey to retain his world heavyweight title at Soldier Field in Chicago. This fight will always be remembered by a long 10 count. It's actually referred to as the long count fight. In the 7th round, when Dempsey puts Tunney down, Dempsey failed to go to a neutral corner, preventing the ref from starting the count for almost 5 full seconds. The ironic thing about this fight was that this particular fight, they incorporated the neutral corner rule, and both fighters were explained prior to the fight extensively. They all knew what the case was. And prior to this, if you knocked a guy down, you were able to just stand above him, and as soon as he got to his feet, you could plow him again. That's what a lot of fighters did. But during this fight, that wasn't the case. Jack Dempsey knocked Tunney down, and Jack Dempsey failed to go to a neutral corner, which prevented the count. Now, a couple of things about this fight. Number one, if you look at the video, and I happen to see a still shot of it in this studio right now, beyond the camera shot is my office, and I have the photo of this fight on my wall. And a lot of people claim that Gene Tunney was ready, willing, and able to get up. He was on one knee, and he waited for the count. Jack Dempsey fans feel that he was robbed of a knockout. The thing is if this fight had taken place today, what typically happens when a fighter gets knocked down, and once the referee rules it a knockdown, and even prior to the fighter being sent to his neutral corner, the timekeeper begins the count. And then the referee will take control. He'll pick up the count from the timekeeper and continue. Now, if a fighter during the count leaves the neutral corner, a referee can indeed pause the count to regain control. But typically, once the referee calls it a knockdown, the timekeeper begins the count, and then the referee will pick up the count. So what that means is that should this fight have taken place today, there's a very good chance that Jack Dempsey would have regained his heavyweight title. That's just my opinion, and I'm biased because Jack Dempsey is one of my favorite fighters. But anyway, again, we apologize for some of the glitches today, but hopefully you'll still enjoy the fight. Don't forget, if you take the time to drop us an email, we'll take the time to read it. So Sal's going to get another chance, because if you're watching this version of the show, you missed the other part where we already said goodbye because we didn't think we were going to be able to come back. And lo and behold, we came back. So I'll leave you with this. Make sure You tune in Monday morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, ciao, baby.